And then the third question, also from Sammy Souza. So he is
What a
firing
man.
them all off there. And it was, what is the possibility of bringing back the Jaguares into Super Rugby, even though I'm an All Blacks fan, as well as Sammy Souza?
Well, there's no point in saying even though I'm an All Blacks fan, I don't really understand what the point of that one was. I get the question. The question's a good one, but what do you mean
Hmm.
even though I'm an All Blacks fan? But
I
the way
think
I
it
would
is
answer,
more of the case of he wants to see, of course, the Super Rugby sides in New Zealand and Australia. It's kind of become, because of Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, those are the sides that everyone associates with it. And then now Moana Pacifica, Fiji and Rua also getting their name thrown in there. The Hikuares haven't been in Super Rugby for a couple of years now. So maybe, it's a
why are we
tough
talking about the
decision.
Jaguares and not talking about the Sunwolves?
The Sunwolves, because they've got the top league at the moment. What have the Higuares got?
Well, absolutely. No, I agree. No, I'm saying, like, in regards to what you just said, in regards to comparing it with what we used to have in the Super Rugby, we don't have the Sunwolves. We also don't have the Jaguares. And I think this Jaguares, sorry, should be in the Super Rugby. But in the same sense, I guess they're just testing it out right now with these two teams in the Moana Pacifica and the Fiji and Drua, in the sense of they're very close. We want to build the islands. I'm not going to lie to you. I would prefer to build the islands in Fiji and Samoa and Tonga before I start building other countries like Argentina, even though I want to see Argentina do well, don't get me wrong. But I would much prefer to put our level of kind of growth into really close geographically speaking in the islands rather than all the way in South America. But like I said, I would love to see Argentina come back with the Jaguares because they are a team that is still close with the Rugby Championship and whatnot. But, I think it's pretty obvious to say that I'd prefer the islands than any other place, including Japan.
Mm. Yeah, and I think at this stage, it is really that testing ground to see whether or not the support gets behind adding the more teams, because it used to be the Super 15 or it used to be Super 14. Then we had a couple more teams get added in. And I'm wondering whether or not it will end up in a similar position here with having, I think the Higuares, they need to find a competition to be able to take part in, because
Absolutely.
they haven't got one at the moment. And the United Rugby Championship don't seem to be extending out that offer like it was for South African
It wouldn't
sides.
make sense due to timing, like in
Mm.
regards to the times of all of them.
So then I guess Argentina, they're kind of a little bit stuck. Maybe where could you put them? If you had to put them anywhere in the world, Argentina, for a competition at domestic level, where would you add them into if it wasn't Super Rugby or the United Rugby Championship?
I don't think you could. I think you'd have to put them in the Super Rugby. I think you would have to put. I don't think there's anything else that's even close to it because you can't put them in Europe because that would just. There's no point. Like,
What
what's the
about the
point?
MLR?
Well, no, that's the exact like yeah, but the quality and I don't know if I spoke about this with you or who I spoke about this with, but like the quality is just such a dramatic drop. Like it is such a dramatic drop
Mm,
compared to like it's cool. Add them into the MLR, but it's like they're not playing up against the best of New Zealand, the best of Australia, and the best of the islands. Obviously, long term they should be thinking about getting back into Super Rugby and doing anything they can to get back into Super Rugby. But right at this very moment, it's not possible. But I would love to ideally see them in the Super Rugby again, but I don't know how long it's going to take, and Argentina will continue to regress until they're back in.
mm. Yeah, so I guess it's one of those ones, isn't it, that if we don't see a full Higuares team in Super Rugby, we at least want to see some of the players from Argentina there, like we saw for the Western Force with the Cook
Isn't
Valley,
Sanchez playing
Santiago
for
Maturana,
Crusaders?
Sanchez,
Not Sanchez. Who's playing?
Pablo Matera.
Pablo Matera. Sorry, yeah.
Mhm. He is going to be there. And also, there's a few other players scattered around the place in that regard. I know a lot of them have been heading to the Italian teams, I believe, is actually
Really?
somewhere they'll be located for the URC for a few of those Argentine players, and also top 14 but that rugby as well.
Well, there you go. Yeah, well, like I said, man, I would love to see the Jaguares come back in. I just think that right now the focus is on improving the Pacific, which is geographically sound for Australia and New Zealand. And then I think eventually they would look to including the likes of, to be honest with you, I think they probably include the likes of Japan as the Rugby Championship before they start thinking about bringing Argentina back into the Super Rugby. But there's a lot that needs to be thought about because I honestly don't know how long South Africa are going to stick around. I don't know. I don't think anyone knows how long they're going to stick around, especially if everything starts to suit them in regards to Six Nations, to be honest with you, man. And Six Nations people, European, keep telling us there's no way it's going to happen, but there's a reason why things get talked about. If there's smoke, there's usually fire. And it doesn't matter whether it's next year or 10 years or 20 years or however, how long does Sansa, how long do we have that is still contracted? Do you know, like 5 years, something like that? 10
It was
years?
either 5 or 10, I believe. I think it's closer to 5, though.
I think it's shorter term. So, yeah, it depends on whether they have a better offer from Six Nations, but that's all cool. If you guys go and play up there, that's fine. It's not going to be beneficial to you guys because playing the Southern Hemisphere teams is the best way to prepare for a World Cup. Fact.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's going to be that's
And
going
on
to
that note.
grind the Northern Hemisphere teams right. And they're going to be like, oh,